book friends, this is Katie, Alice in Wonder 1. This is my first face-to-face video that I have ever done. I've done scrapbooking videos in the past, haul videos, shopping videos, going over items that I've purchased for scrapbooking, and I pretty much could open a store by now with everything that I've bought. You can look back at my old videos and see. So trying to shop a little less on that stuff and use a little more, and trying to get back more into books. I was a bookseller back in the early 90s, and I've always loved books since I was a kid. Read Beverly Cleary, just anytime you saw me, I pretty much had a book in my hand. So I just started kind of going down the rabbit hole that is Booktube, and found a community that I really am loving, and that is Killing Time with Cozies, Beach Bum Bookworm, The Bookish Knitter, Storm Reads, Sonia with an I, the TBR Tackle, just all kinds of people in that group that just really, Lizzie Faye Loves Books, that just are awesome, just fantastic. So today, actually, I was on chatting, not on, a live stream with them, and they do these book sprints every week, every couple times a week sometimes. They're just great. So if you're not, why are you watching me if you're not watching them? But you know, go subscribe if you're not. Anyway, so I thought, since I was a bookseller back in the day, back in 92, 93, probably up till 96, I worked at Walden Books, one preferred reader card. I'm your gal. I could still do you sign up, you get 10% off, the whole spiel. Anyway, so yeah, back in the day, you'd see a lot of books come through, shelving all the cozies. And like I said, I've always been a mystery lover, just Agatha Christie. I remember reading Halloween Party, probably when I was like 13 or 14 we were at camping with some friends, and I just remember snuggled up in the tent reading that book. And just TV, Remington Steele, Moonlighting, even just, any Agatha Christie movie that came on TV, I was there. Alfred Hitchcock, just anything like that. I've just always been at Perry Mason. I could just keep going. But that would be a little boring, wouldn't it? Just listing stuff. So anyway, I do have some lists, though, of books that I was going to talk about. Things that I remember from back in the day when I would be shelving these books, and these were books that I came across that I really, the ones that stand out the most to me that I remember reading. I don't remember, obviously, it's been a long time and I haven't reread these books. I don't remember all the details of them, but I do remember just the titles and the way they made me feel when I read them. So I am hoping to go back and reread some of these books and see if they kind of still make me feel that same way, if I still enjoy them, if they're dated. I mean, obviously they're going to be dated. There's no cell phones, there's no computers, there's no internet. Yeah, that was fun trying to find books before the internet. Anyway, yeah, so I have a list of books here that I'm just going to share just to see if anyone else is interested. So the first one I'm going to talk about is called Murder at the PTA Luncheon by Valerie Wolzian, and it came out in 1988. It's a Susan Henshaw #1. It is on KU, Kindle Unlimited. There are 16 in the series. I'm going to give just a brief synopsis of these books, and maybe talk about a little bit what I remember, but I really, put a thing here, don't remember much about details. So the synopsis of this one is, who put the cyanide in the crab canapé? That's what everyone at the PTA luncheon wants to know, and no one more than Susan Henshaw, who was the hostess. Along with a couple of Connecticut state troopers, Susan cooks up a scheme to find the killer. From what I remember about this book, Susan is a housewife, mother, and she has a best friend who is a lawyer, maybe? I can't remember now. And she's just one of those go moms, she's really involved with her kids. We do see the kids grow up during the course of the series, and I think even get married and stuff down the line. I'm not sure when the last book was. I didn't write that down, but I do remember liking these a lot. They're pretty traditional as far as, cut, paste. This is the story. Not a lot to them, but I did find them entertaining, and I did buy, I think, every one of them that I came across. The next one is called A Little Neighborhood Murder by A.J. Ord. the pseudonym for Sherry S. Tepper, who was a science fiction writer. I'm not sure her status. This came out in 1989. It is a Jason Links #1. There were 6 books in this series. And this one says, when Jason Links's neighbors, George and Betty Whitney, are murdered, Jason discovers the police consider him the #1 suspect. But Jason, an addicted puzzle solver, begins to find the case fascinating. Who'd have thought that George Whitney, an employee of a religious radio station, had it in him to attract a killer? Aided by endearing detective Grace Willis, Jason approaches the sinister secret that made the boring Whitneys so deadly dangerous. And if he's not very careful, that terrible secret could coil back and strike him. So this one, obviously male protagonist in it. I believe these were take place in maybe Arizona, the Southwest, maybe New Mexico. I can't remember exactly. I just thought these were very well written when I read them. They weren't your typical, I don't know. They just seemed a little bit more deep to me. Again, from what I remember. The next one is also by Sherry S. Tepper, but this time she was using the pseudonym B.J. Oliphant, and it is called Dead in the Scrub. This one came out in 1990, and it is a Shirley McClintock #1. There were 7 in this series. Intrepid rancher Shirley McClintock hasn't seriously lost her temper for 2 or 3 weeks, but when struggling to put a wounded deer out of its misery, she stumbles over a human skeleton half buried in autumn leaves. She does. A second murder, accomplished with the same arrow that had pierced the body of the deer, sends her on the warpath. Impatient with the ineffectual bumbling of the sheriff, she launches her own investigation. The crimes are mysterious and apparently unrelated, but in both she catches a whiff of bigotry and sin, a sense of something rotten in the town's religious and banking communities. Only proof is lacking, but that, when she finds it, cannot be used not without putting the person nearest her heart into mortal danger. Sorry for the stumbling. Again, the same author, so I just found this one to be really well written. This next one we actually discussed, meaning I watched someone else discuss it, and I don't think I even chatted about this one, but this is Mistletoe Murder by Leslie Meyer, 1993, available on Kindle Unlimited. This is the Lucy Stone #1. There are 30 in the series, 30 books. I think these are still current. I didn't look to see if those were still being made, but as if baking holiday cookies, knitting a sweater for her husband's gift, and making her daughter's angel costume for the church pageant weren't enough things for Lucy Stone's busy Christmas schedule, she is also working nights at the famous mail order company Country Cousins. But when she discovers Sam Miller, its very wealthy founder, dead in his car from an apparent suicide, the sleuth in her knows that something just doesn't smell right. What was noted today on the chat that was on Beach Bum Bookworm's channel was that this one seemed really dated. Like the husband basically kind of treated the wife more like a servant, sort of, just not enlightened, not what you would call a good relationship nowadays. The next one I'm going to talk about is called Sure to Die. This is another one by Valerie Wolzian. It's 1995. It's a Josie Pigeon #1, 7 in the series. This one says, the body in the beach house is dead as a doornail. Summer's coming and Island Contracting's all-woman construction crew is working overtime, glitzing up the old house on the north end of the island. Then the firm's owner, red-headed Josie Pigeon, discovers a murdered body under a drop-cloth, a body that vanishes as mysteriously as it appears. With a complicated job to finish and clients who bring out the killer in anyone, Josie doesn't need a murderer on her job site, but she can't erase the horrid suspicion that one of her excellent crew may be moonlighting as a killer. Melissa, Chris, Evelyn, sexy Betty? It seems impossible. The one bright spot in Josie's life is the new owner of the local liquor store, who is not only attractive, but amazingly helpful at amateur detecting. So we got a little bit of romance probably in this one. And obviously, Josie must be a Spitfire because she's redheaded. Otherwise, why would they call that out? So, I don't remember a whole lot about that one. I just remember that I liked it at the time. Again, don't know much about the details. This next one, though, I do remember, well, I remember the way it made me feel. I just remember this one feeling extremely cozy. It's called No Place for Secrets, and it's by Sherry Lewis. It came out in 1995, the first one. Fred Vickery, #1. There were 6 books in the series, and it is available on KU as of last week when I did research on this. I don't know if it still is. It should be. The first book in the popular Fred Vickery mystery series. Cutler, Colorado is the kind of town where everybody knows his neighbor and nobody locks their doors. There's always time to chat with a neighbor or enjoy a cup of coffee with a friend, and there's nothing like watching the sunset over Spirit Lake. But looks can be deceiving. Fred Vickery is a man of a certain age. A minor heart incident now has his old friend Doc Huggins warning him to avoid cholesterol, salt, and caffeine. He wants Fred to rest and avoid excitement. Fred's doing the best to cooperate. At least that's what his overly concerned daughter believes. But cutting down on the sodium is a lot easier than avoiding excitement, especially when Fred discovers a dead body while on his morning walk. The victim was new in town. She'd only been in Cutler 10 years. But Fred has lived there forever. He knows everyone, and he knows exactly what questions to ask. Doc's orders be damned. So obviously this one, you get the feeling she's new in town, but she's lived there for 10 years. You kind of get the vibe of what the residents there are like, and everybody knows everybody, and small town life, that kind of thing. So I just remember that one feeling very cozy. The next one I remember as being one where, so if you are a mystery lover who loves old lady mysteries, this one might be for you. Golden Girls kind of vibe. Very Eligible Corpse by Annie Griffin came out in 1998. It is a Hannah and Kiki #1. There were 4 books in this series. Hannah and Kiki, a truly odd couple of middle-aged sisters, so not elderly, middle-aged. Kind of Golden Girls, I guess. You know, Rue McClanahan was like in her 50s when Golden Girls was on. One with a taste of poetry, for the other for swarthy men. Pool their mismatched wits to prevent Kiki from being trotted off to jail for the murder of her boyfriend. This one I do remember liking Hannah and Kiki, their characters, quite a bit. It was just fun. The next one is Circles of Confusion. This one is a little more literary to me. It's by April Henry. It came out in 1999. It's Claire Montrose, and it's #1. There were 4 books in this series. I was really disappointed that there weren't more than this, because I really found this one to be really well written. I know she's written other books, but this one I just really liked the character and the vibe. It takes place in Oregon. I live in Oregon. This is, why did departed Aunt Katie have an exquisite old painting buried beneath World War II paraphernalia, and how could a painting so dramatically shift Claire's perspective on everything from her uninspired love life to her ho-hum job in the Oregon State Custom License Plate Division? And then it's got like your license plate MST BF8, must be fate. So Claire works in the Oregon State License Plate Division. She actually gets to judge whether someone can have a personalized license plate when they have something written on it. And that's kind of part of the book. I think at the beginning of the chapters, she gets like you get to see what the code is, like this MS, and figure out if she's, what that is. She has to do some research sometimes on them to figure out what that actually means and make sure there's nothing that violates the law. And it's interesting to see some of those. I just remember that just feeling that it was really well written and that the characters had some depth to them. And like I said before, I was sorry that there weren't more in that one. The last one I'm going to share is called Devil's Trumpet by Mary Freeman, 1999. It's a gardening mystery #1. There were 4 books in this series as well. This also takes place in Oregon. It's landscaper Rachel O'Connor turns sleuth when her latest client, Henry Bassinger, owner of the once popular Columbia River Inn, turns up dead at the bottom of a nearby cliff and sets out to uncover the killer before she herself falls victim to a series of bizarre accidents. So yeah, that one, they're all kind of that Devil's Trumpet. They've all got like gardening references in the beginning thing of title. So anyway, that is my summary of some books from 1988 to 1999. I've got some more that I'm going to be covering from like the 2000s and the 210s. I just saw 212 on my blog. So anyway, do you enjoy reading old mysteries? Do you like old series? Are you interested in hearing about old series? Because I'm old. I like to think I'm in my 20s still, but I'm not. You know. Oh well. You'll be there soon. If you're young, Believe me, you'll be there soon. You don't think it's coming, but it's coming. Yeah. That sounded like a threat, didn't it? It's not a threat. Anyway, thank you so much. I want to thank all the Booktube community. Really, it's just been fun just getting to get back into books. It's so hard sometimes just turning the social media off. Even the YouTube, I kind of go down the rabbit hole in that and think I need to turn the YouTube off and read a book. So anyway, thank you. Happy reading, and thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and like. Thank you.